for inviting me, agriculture information. Hello everyone. This is Ankur Anand. Before starting the topic, I'll give you a brief introduction of myself. I'm currently working in a farm in box. It's one of the subsidiary company of Dabur India Limited, and our brand name is Farm in Box. Working as a project head here. My experience is approximately around 6 years, completely in this hydroponics greenhouse cultivation, from growing to growing cultivation and erecting projects. Before that, I worked for Dharmpal Satyapal Group, that is the Rajnigandha Group company, and then currently I'm here. So let's start. We'll go with this. Yeah, introduction. Uh, Basically, what hydroponics is? Hydroponics is all about growing in a soilless media. Meaning we are replacing soil with something, some media which can hold the roots. Basically, the requirement of soil is to hold the roots. Yes, there are some vitamins and minerals present, but that is not a precision farming. We are giving nutrients into the soil. It is leaching out. Either there is a competition, and plants are not able to absorb completely in it. So we are replacing soil with something kind of a media, and we are giving them all the macro and micronutrients solution, which are all water soluble nutrients, and giving it to them so that they are able to give you good quality produce. That is how that is what hydroponics is. Um, Now I'll let you know about some of the systems which are commonly used in this hydroponic system. The first one is NFT, which is nutrient film technique. In this system, we have pipes, PVC flat pipes, in which a very thin 1 to 2 mm thin nutrient film travels 24/7 with the help of motor and pumps, and it is getting and it recirculates every time, in which and the plants are kept on it. So the second one is deep water culture, in which plants are completely like the roots are completely submerged inside the system, with some air stones or air bubbles in it, through which plants will grow. Next one is the wick system, in which a wick like something which can hold water and pass water into the plants or the roots. That is a wick system available. There is a ebb and flow system. Ebb and flow system is mostly used by nursery people. Just it is kind of a bottom irrigating irrigation system, in which water comes, stays for some time based on the timing system, depending upon your requirement. It stays for some time, and then it will leach out, and then the same water it is used again. Next one is the drip irrigation system. It is the most common system used for the wine crops species, or in the grow bags. Another other fine last one is the aeroponic system. Aeroponics is the most advanced system, and most people are telling that it is one of the most advanced way of hydroponics. In this system, we missed all the nutrient rich solution into the roots. Why we are why some people call it a very advanced system? Just because a lot of air, oxygen is available for the roots to expand, and the roots are, if the roots are healthy, the plant is going to be very good. Next one is the greenhouse cultivation. So we are combining greenhouse with hydroponics. So hydroponics is not completely related to the greenhouse, but yeah, we combine both this technology, the greenhouse cultivation and hydroponics technology, to get better produce out of it. Now, why people want to grow inside a greenhouse? Why protected structure to grow crops? It is just to protect your crops from harsh environmental condition or any pest or any dangers associated with the poor weather, so that you can prolong the life cycle of the produce you are growing. So, and the quality of produce you will get is very high, and the yield is very high. Growth you will get inside a greenhouse condition is very high, and the final market price is going to be good for it. But yes, there are some costs associated with it. We'll look on that also. And greenhouses can be controlled via heating, cooling, in whatever system you want to put inside according to your environmental conditions, so that you'll be able to manage all the climate factors, all the microclimatic factors which is required to the crop. Here we'll discuss about some different types of greenhouses, most common greenhouses present in India currently. What number one is the net house. It's the one of the basic type of a greenhouse which is constructed. This net house system is made only from this insect nets from top and sides with shading net inside it. Most of the it is one of the cheapest kind of a greenhouses which is available in India. Next one is the NVPH, which the full form is naturally ventilated polyhouse. Naturally ventilated polyhouse is covered with a poly sheet, which and the sunlight can diffract, and all the radiations can cross that poly sheet, and we see a good amount of diffraction inside the greenhouse. It can be open and closed from the sides, or if we want, we can open it and close it from the top also. Next one is fan and pad polyhouse. This is one of the advanced version of this naturally ventilated polyhouse. This fan and pad polyhouse is kind of a cooler system. You can say if you get inside a greenhouse, you are getting inside a cooler. Basically, there is a pad in which water flows through it, and there are exhausts facing outside on the opposite side, and there is a draft of air which is created, and all the heat from the greenhouse it goes out. Next one is the glass house, mostly used in the temperate regions, snowy regions which are very cold. One of the costliest kind of a greenhouses. And another last one is the retractable greenhouses. In this retractable greenhouses, you can completely open or close the roof of a greenhouse according to the environmental conditions required. So these greenhouses are selected based on your crop, your environmental conditions, and which we'll discuss in further slides. The cost of construction varies from 800 rupees to 10,000 per square meter. Reason for being this broad uh, uh, difference between the minimum and maximum pricing is what kind of technology you want to put in, how much sensors, how much uh, IoT and AI want inside your greenhouse, how much automation you want in your greenhouse. So the more the automation, more is the price. So and that will depend upon your revenue, how much you are expecting. That will be discussed in the further slides. Though greenhouse is a very vast topic, hydroponics, we have very short time, but I'll try to briefly introduce you with each and every topic in this presentation. So a greenhouse and hydroponic system selection, how we are going to select these crops. So first of all, in India, from my experience in India also in last couple of years, the most successful crops grown, people are making money out of it are some vine crops, which are tomato, bell peppers, cucumbers, different varieties of tomatoes, bell peppers, and cucumbers, all the leafy vegetables, all the herbs, and strawberry and berries. These are one of the profitable crops which India is making from last couple of years. So according to these crop, what kind of structure or what kind of hydroponic setup you need? So for the vine crops, we need a drip irrigation system. As you see, there are grow bags and the pipes inside there, those are drip pipes. So grow bags can be of different types. These are cylindrical grow bags. They can be of flat troughs. You can also take rectangular cubes to grow. So that depends upon your selection, depends upon your region of growing, the amount of crops we are growing inside a greenhouse. That's how you select. If you go with the leafy crops are well suited in Newton film technique, that is NFT or DWC, that is deep water culture or aeroponics. These are the most, if you want to grow leafy crops in a grow bag, the growth will be in a slower rate. These are all the experience which I'm sharing from mine. And if you want to propagate in nursery plants, propagation ebb and flow system are the best system, because you don't want to irrigate your plants from the top. You should always irrigate your plants from the bottom, so for a healthy sapling. Now when you have selected your hydroponic setup by selecting your crops, then you go with the structure. What kind of structure do you need? You select your structure depending upon the climatic condition. That is tropical and subtropical climate, you need to have this NVPH, like naturally ventilated polyhouse, net house, or fan and pad polyhouse, or retractable poly roof houses. These are the best suited structure for tropical and subtropical climate. But if you are going into a temperate or cold regions, glass house is best. Polyhouse, completely covered polyhouse, not ventilated, or a hybrid kind of a model you can use to grow inside the system. Okay. Moving to the next slide, which is one of the most important thing. This is substrate selection. We are not using any soil, so we need a substitute for the soil. So how to choose a substrate is most important, because if we are doing hydroponics inside a greenhouse, we are using no soil at all. So choose a substrate. There are three important criteria that we have to keep in our mind. First one is WHC, meaning water holding capacity. We don't want our substrate to hold excess of water or less water in it. It should not drain too much water, or it should not hold too much amount of water. It should hold ambient water in it, so that plants can be there and there are no fungal any kind of disease in it, because of the compaction. We need air inside that. We need oxygen. Plant roots needs oxygen. That and this, which is the second point, which is AFP, that is air filled porosity. This is calculated by when you are giving water to a substrate and it is completely saturated, and how much percentage of volume the air can hold. The this can hold. It is done by that. So all these data are available, easily available with any vendor, or you can Google it up and get what should be the good air filled porosity, what should be the water holding capacity of any kind of a substrate. CEC is cation exchange capacity. This is something like how much negative charge ions soil can hold, so that positively charged nutrients can attach to it, and it can then be transported to the roots. So higher the cation exchange capacity, better is the substrate. So there are a lot of substrate available in the market, like cocoa peat, cocoa coir, rock wool, peat moss, perlite, oasis, sawdust. There are a lot of available in the market, but the most commonly used substrate is cocoa peat. In India, it is easily available. In India, it is biodegradable, reusable, plus it is cheap also, and it suffices with all the three things which we discussed earlier. Any kind of a crop can be grown in a cocoa peat media. Not only cocoa peat, you can always make a mixture of cocoa peat with husk and coir to grow your crop. Okay. And the next one is the nutrient management. So if we are going hydroponics, and we are growing in a hydroponics way, the most important thing is the nutrition, because that is the thing which we have to make our own recipe. We have to understand each and every element, what is the role of those elements. I'm not going to discuss all the function of the nutrient. This the slide is here to just make you aware that we need all these macro and micro elements, and we have to make it available to the plants, and we have to understand, we must know the important functions of these nutrients, so that if we are making our own uh, recipe, because we are not using soil at all, cocoa peat or any kind of a media is inert, we have to give all the nutrients from outside. So one of the most important thing, nutrient plays a very vital role in the growth and development, and their uptake is dependent upon their climatic condition or the plantage. Accordingly, we have to change all the recipes also, because earlier I told, this is a precision way of farming. Uh, we have we have to be aware that all the nutrients available, uh, uh, nutrients are available to the plants. Now, I'm taking this is just an example for bell peppers. I'm not because I cannot discuss all the recipes in this present short presentation. So I've taken example of bell peppers. I've created a vegetative and a generative chart. In what like from 0 to 8 weeks is the vegetative phase for a plant, and then after that it's in a generative phase where flowering and fruiting started. We have to change our recipe. We have to change the EC, that is electrical conductivity, which is this conductivity is used to measure the amount of nutrient in it. And all these data are in ppm, that is parts per million, and how much is the requirement of the plant. So I'll take example of nitrogen, suppose. So there is always a range. between this to this you can supply your plants. It is not fixed. No nutrition, you cannot give, there is no thumb rule for the nutrition recipe. It will vary depending upon your plant growth stage, depending upon your climatic condition where you are growing, and it will also depend upon a grower what kind of a growth he wants. So you have to always be balanced between vegetative and a generative phase of a plant, and accordingly you have to change your recipe in it. Okay. Now the efficient irrigation, what irrigation we can call it efficient, because we are using hydroponics technology. We say that we'll save a lot of water from it, so we have to make it more efficient. So how we irrigate our plants? We irrigate our plant based on the moisture content or the radiation, means the how much amount of sunlight it's coming, or the drain percentage, how much drain is coming when you are giving a drip to a plant, giving irrigation to the plant, how much drain percentage is coming out of, drain is coming out of it. Accordingly you calculate that drain percentage. You can give your plant, irrigate your plant time based irrigations or depending upon the growth stage. So we make this efficient by, so in this picture you will see there are two tanks, A and B tanks. In both these tank nutrients are mixed, and nutrients are selected based on their reacting capability. Suppose we cannot mix nutrition calcium nitrate and magnesium sulfate, because they'll make calcium sulfate and it a precipitate will form, which will going to choke your all the pipes and each and everything. So accordingly different uh, we put different nutrients in A and B tank, and we'll see how they react. Then we have a pH agents, means if the water is the pH is too high or pH is too low, accordingly we have to add acid or alkaline depending upon the situation at that time. Both these things are mixed and then is irrigated to the plants. After when the plants absorbed it, or is saturated, the media is the coco peat or anything, any substrate is saturated, it drain water. We take the drainage, we calculate the drain percentage, and then this drainage water is then UV treated, and then treated water is again mixed into a tank, and then it is given to the plants again. So the here is the catch: we cannot give drainage water like 100% drainage water to the plants directly. We have to give approximately around 10 to 30% of water, because we don't know what's there in the drainage water, what's the nutrient recipe of that drainage water. So we save water, we give it 10 to 20%, 30% maximum to the plants. That is how we are saving water, and this whole cycle is a closed loop irrigation, and where there is no leaching out of the water, and we are not wasting anything. That's how we save around 80 to 90% of water when we do hydroponics farming. Next one is the climate management, how which is one of the most important thing which we discussed earlier, that in a greenhouse structure we have to control our climate. This is also example of a bell pepper. I'm not giving all the examples. This is just to see what all we can control. All the minimum, maximum, optimal condition is given. Accordingly, we control the temperature. And the main thing, how are we going to control the temperature or humidity or radiation inside a greenhouse? So for these, for controlling temperature, we can put some misters inside the greenhouse, that is foggers, which can cool down the temperature. We can put some chillers, which can cool down the temperatures. We can put some boilers if we are growing in a temperate condition, so that we can heat up our greenhouse to provide a microclimatic condition. And we can put we have this screen or curtain in it, through by which radiation from the top humidity can be uh, uh, we can shade the plants by using these curtains, or those curtains are of different types. We have shading curtains, we have thermal curtains. Thermal curtains help to protect energy when we are giving boiler, we're using boilers. All these systems can be then be controlled by a automated system, growth management, any kind of a growth management software easily, which is available. We can use it. Okay. Now the next one is hygiene, pest and disease management. So it is also one of the major factor when you're growing inside a greenhouse. You have to be hygienic, because from my experience I can clearly tell you, if you are growing inside a greenhouse, and you're providing an ideal climatic condition to the plant. You are also providing an ideal condition to the pests, which can come and infest inside the condition. So you have to be very hygienic. Say we have to disinfect all our greenhouses before transplanting any kind of plants inside the greenhouse. We have to treat all the media, if you're using it or whether it's a new media. You have to treat our media with fungicides earlier, before transplantation, before sowing. We can put some sticky traps, yellow and blue sticky traps. These are very helpful. We can put inside a greenhouse, and all the insects, depending upon, like for example, thrips is a sucking pest which is attracted towards blue color. It can go and stick to it because these sticky traps have adhesives, and most of the flies can get attached to this yellow sticky trap. So you are controlling a pest population in here. We can have biological sprays, preventive biological sprays inside the greenhouse. And then, if required, if we are crossing our economic threshold level, ETL level, then we can chemically intervene as per requirement. But mostly try to avoid this, because inside a greenhouse condition, the pests, if we spray chemicals too much, the pests get resistant. Now, I'll share you some of the real life like photos. These are photos from my experiences for bell peppers. I've grown bell peppers. So what, from seeding till final harvest, uh, it is in here. So from seeding to like germination, it takes approximately around 12 days to germinate. Initially, we use trays and we germinate them in a cocoa peat, which is drenched. Like I said, it is drenched completely in a fungicide, which is treated media. Then after 15 to 15 days, it is transplanted into the cocoa cubes, and then it is taken into the compartment. The last picture you see, it is finally into the compartment on a drip irrigation system. So these are the wine crops. As we discussed earlier, the wine crops are well suited for the drip irrigation system. The whole life cycle of a bell pepper is approximately around 9 to 10 months, and these are the crop stages. So from flower to fruit, it will take approximately around 45 days to give you a fruit. You can see after 7 days you see a fruit set, and then there are fruits in it, and then you final harvest. So the final harvest comes in approximately around 90 to 100 days after sowing for bell peppers. So some post harvest activities you need to manage. So the most in this post harvest activity, the most important thing is the removal of field heat. Field heat is a concept when you like when you are harvesting your crop at a higher temperature, it start respirating, it loses moisture, and the shelf life becomes very less. So you harvest your crop either very early or late in the evening. So pre-cooling is it is necessary before sorting, grading, or storing your crop. When you harvest, you should let it pre-cool in a shade, and then you move that to a refrigerator or a cold chamber. Then you start grading your crops with depending upon A, B, or C grade, and you can sell it depending upon your client requirement. Via these step of post-harvest activities, you can increase the shelf life of any wine crop like tomato, cucumber, and capsicum for 2 to 3 weeks of a shelf life. Now, I will discuss some about project economics. We have to be quick, I think. So project economics, this is my recent project erection, which is still going on currently. So I have given some idea like how to plan your project. So initially we have to understand about what all will the capital expenses. The greenhouse here I'm building is a naturally ventilated poly house, which is kind of a hybrid where we can close the top vents and side vents depending upon the weather conditions. So it's close to 1 acre of a greenhouse, that is 4,000 square meter. And we need a fertigation setup, we need a trough, we need we need some miscellaneous item maybe. So that's why accordingly I have planned this one. Next one is operations expenses, so like yearly operations expense for farm management, requirement of cocoa peat, seed, fertilizer, pest control, electricity, labor. All these are the yearly requirements. Accordingly, I have given. So my idea is to not show you the numbers basically, But yeah, obviously you will use numbers to understand how much revenue or how much what is the economics of the whole crop. But the idea is to we have to be ahead and plan in a way so that it's not a loss making entity. We should, because now the challenging part is the most of the people in India are not making a lot of money because they are not planning it properly. Okay, and this is the revenue model. I have taken four crops: bell peppers, mini cucumber, cherry tomatoes, and jalapenos inside a greenhouse hydroponic cultivation. The production per meter square, this is my experience. Via my experience, I have achieved these numbers, and accordingly with the market price I have came to a conclusion for revenue. So my idea is to divide all of this into a 5-year model. The capex is divided into 3 years, and operations expenses increasing 6% depending upon the inflation, each and everything. And accordingly, I'm calculating my gross profit out of it. So and with this final gross profit and all these things, we are able to understand if we are growing a bell pepper or cucumber, I'm generating approximately this amount of revenue. So we need to build this structure and how much we can automate that structure, because the better automation, better data collection you do, the better output you will get. So you have to put in some amount of money initially, but obviously it will cover up, but it will depend. You have to search a market, you have to get the market price out of it, so you have to do your research. So most essential things for protected and hydroponic cultivation, because it's a very high monitoring job. It's not like you just sow your seeds or transplant your seeds in the field and you monitor it. You have to monitor it, you have to be on your job completely to see what's happening inside a greenhouse. So initially the first essential thing is the greenhouse structure based. You have to select based on your climatic conditions. Initially people fail to do that. You have to check all your equipments, it has to be calibrated, everything has to be on time, everything should be on time, so that whenever you are transplanting, no problems happening inside the greenhouse. You have to analyze your water initially before irrigation. You have to do water analysis of nutrient water analysis. You have to check your stocks, you have to disinfect your area before any crop come inside. You have to sticky, you have to hang sticky traps. You have to change your recipe depending upon the vegetative stage of a plant, or it's in a flowering stage. So that is why I say it's a very high monitoring job. You have to scout your crops daily so that you search any kind of pest or disease in it. You have to take action. You have to check your dissolved oxygen there. You have to check your EC and pH daily, so that because you cannot be a reliable, you cannot rely on the sensors which are present in your system. You have to manually check it daily so that you know what's going inside. So you have to do your residue analysis. You have to use chemicals as per the food safety standards. You have to make your own MIS to register all the data like climate, irrigation details, scouting, spray, labor, so that it can be used further. You have to record all the harvest data so that it can be used in forecasting, because data collection is the most important thing currently. Uh, Now, I have given a small comparison of controlled environment agriculture versus this traditional farming. So all the parameters I've taken is that for like crop cycle is longer in hydroponic cultivation. Reason being, you are doing it in a protected cultivation, protected way, and it's a more precision kind of a farming. Substrate you are using in the traditional is soil, and normally you are using coco peat or rock wool in nutrient. So in soil farming, we say there's a nutrient accumulation, competition, or very suboptimal uptake of nutrient. The nutrient, because nutrient are also leaching inside the soil. But in this is a more direct way of farming. You are directly feeding the roots, and they are taking up here. Pest disease are low in hydroponic cultivation. Traditional farming, there are high risk, high chances. Uh, like raw materials, high utilization, because there are a lot of equipments involved. Plant density can be higher just because we can put higher number of plants inside a 1 acre of area. Reason being, we can utilize each and every space, because inside a poly house, greenhouse, everything, the light, it's diffracted lights are coming in, and inside a greenhouse, and each and every inch of the leaf can be utilized. Yield is really higher, and food safety and security is high because we are spraying less and we are growing crops for a longer period of time. So we get a higher yield in it. So this comparison is only for few crops. I'm not saying traditional cultivation or soil cultivation can be replaced by hydroponics cultivation, which is not possible at all. But yeah, there are certain crops, certain exotic crops which can be grown with a longer life cycle, and a farmer or a grower can earn good profit out of it. That is why I've done this comparison. Now, this is the last slide. We have come to the last slide. The major challenges we are facing, because this is a very new technology, very futuristic technology, and it has a lot of scope in future. Government is helping, everyone is helping, everybody is now want to know about what hydroponic is. So there are some of the major challenges which we are going to discuss about here, which is high initial capital investment. Yes, there is a high initial capital investment, but if we say there are certain organizations, or in some states governments are also helping, providing subsidies for land, subsidies for irrigation system, subsidies for the whole hydroponic setup system. So these are now in initiation, because we know that we are like moving in a way, we are going to have a lot of population in coming future, and we need space to grow. And in this we can grow much higher yield in a small space. Arable land is now decreasing every year, so we have to move towards something which is sustainable. Next one is finding a market. People are like really struggling selling their produce, just because the next point you see lack of knowledge and awareness about the hydroponics. So lot of people does not know, don't know what hydroponics is all about. They compare this with organic or something, but it's not like that. It's much safer than anything you grow, because if people don't know, they are not able to pay or not willing to pay for it. That is why it is very difficult to find a market for this. Lack of experience, because this is not taught in agriculture institutes, but now they have incorporated some guides and some topics related to hydroponics, and there are some institutes who are like training people. So there's a lack of experience, a grower, a guide for the Indian climatic conditions. Availability of skilled workforce, because inside a greenhouse you need to know how to manage your plants, so that they can give you good yield. So that is lacking. And then last one is presence of trustworthy vendors and suppliers. There were a lot of vendors and suppliers who have cheated and looted a lot of clients or farmers. They are not they do not provide you because they also don't know what kind of a structure or what kind of a system they should provide. So these are the major challenges currently in India, which people are facing with this whole hydroponics and greenhouse setup. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a detailed presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants now.
Sure.
In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen, sir, so that
Sure,
we
sure.
can have a full video. I'll take up the first question, sir. As project head at KBC India Private Limited, what exactly is your role?
Okay, so my role is I look after all the day-to-day operations, budgeting, from growing till dispatch. It's all my responsibility. I have an agronomist who is working under me. I have a maintenance guy who look after the greenhouse, day-to-day greenhouse maintenance, each and everything. So my role is to look after all the process from sowing till dispatch. It's into the market, making budget, making plans. All these things, looking after all the nutrient formulations, guiding my agronomist to do what, looking after like IPM, like integrated pest management, all these things which I do.
Okay. In your job as project head, what are some most anxious moments?
So obviously, when you are in a agriculture sector, you face all these things when there is a pest incidents, whether the plants are going to survive or not. These are the challenges. You do your own treatment, and you have to look. Okay, uh, there are pest incidents or disease inside the plant, but will they survive with my treatment or not? At that time period, it's the most anxious time.
What are some common errors that cause greenhouse projects to fail?
So, like I talked in my presentation, it's all about planning, or the challenges which I discuss in this presentation. So you have to plan according to the market, not according to the crop, not according to what you want to grow. You have to plan according to the market, because what is what is the current requirement in the market? What's the current prices of these produce? Will people buy from me, or what kind of a marketing model I have to look at? Because ultimately it's all about making money. When you are erecting a project, any kind of a project, it's all about making money out of it. If you are able to grow but not able to sell, then that is a failed project. So you have to understand yeah, how to market your product, and then make a plan what all will be your requirement, what will be your schedule for the crop planting season. Each and everything has to be on time, and because it's a very high monitoring job. It's not like general farming, you just plant your seeds and just go out in the field and check it once a day. It's not like that. You have to be on there, because lots of system are running. We have to check your system every hour, every time. So, and take action then and there only. So it's actually, you have to be on your job according. So
Okay.
that's it.
The next question is, what kind of crops are mainly grown in greenhouses in India?
So in my presentation also, I've also shared this. There is mostly so crops. You can grow anything in hydroponic system, but the most profitable crops from last 5 to 7 years, people are growing in India are the wine crops like tomato, bell pepper, cucumbers, all these crops, leafy vegetables, lettuces, kale, rocket, arugula. They are all exotic variety crops. People are giving good market price for it. You can grow strawberries if you are able to control a good environment. So these are the more profitable crops.
Okay. Before setting up a greenhouse, what are the essential requirements that must be in place?
So before setting up a greenhouse, you have to make a list, all the essentials, like what kind of a crop you are going